Good morning. It is 8 a.m. and it's a Friday. And today's reading today's topic happens to be about Chiron and Venus and the effect that it actually really does have on our life for that day and for those hours when it does really happen. And I have a little therapy session here of what it is that came through and is going to speak to us during this time. So, in the future, this is a timeless therapy session that I'm creating right now, and it's for you when you are having this Venus in 180-degree to Chiron, and what to expect, what's happening, what's going on in your thoughts at the time, and to also have like a little guide, because it could be a very uncomfortable time because depending on where you are in your journey, this could be great. Maybe you've gone through something in your life, and there's an insecurity of some kind that's happened to you. Usually with Venus and Chiron, it usually has to do with value, self-worth a little bit. And Chiron, of course, has a little bit of an unlucky feeling when it does happen to you. And I would definitely recommend to anybody out there that you should know where your Chiron is, because every single time that it's engaged with anything, things don't really turn out the way that you think that they are. And they're not always whatever, they're usually kind of hurtful. And they remind you of wounds, because Chiron really, according to our textbook here of what Chiron means, I'm going to read it to you. If you could just give me 1 second, I had it up there. It says Chiron is known as the wounded healer, representing the deepest inner wounds, traumas, and insecurities we carry. Its placement in your birth chart by sign and house reveals where you've experienced pain, but also where you hold the potential to find healing and use the wisdom to help others. The key is transforming personal pain into a source of strength and compassion. And in some kind of a ways, Venus at 180 degrees of Chiron, where I am, it happens to be my 5th house and my 11th house. So my 5th house would be my creativity and, things having to do with love and gambling. How crazy, right? How amazing how you get the real, wow. That little Ganesh over here blessing. All right, we're gonna break through some obstacles. That's what the spirit was saying today, right? Let's go back to some Venus frequency. We're vibrating at 235 hertz, universal spiritual awakening. Maybe that's what it was. So yeah, so it was just appropriate that I got this card. However, today's message happens to be, it's okay not to have it all figured out. Once you're healing and becoming yourself, just remember you're becoming. There's no full definition. People like to hold other people to this, and of course you would like to have some basis, but in truth, we're constantly changing, just because we're also evolving to become the better version of ourselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. You owe it to yourself. No one else can do it for you. And so the angel today happens to be our Achia Purity, cleanse and detoxify. And her message today to us would be, bring in the violet flame to cleanse the situation and gain greater understanding. The best thing ever is understanding is the best healer, because you know exactly how to, you know, try to have some perspective about the situation and evaluate it from there. Anyways, it says Archia's purities, whose name is derived from the Old French purité, meaning truth, serves on the violet ray of transformation and surrender with her counterpart, Archangel Zadkiel. Remember when we had Zadkiel just the other day? So this is actually two of the same angels, actually on 2 Fridays. That's amazing, right? Great, wow, last Friday's reading it was. So, the violet flame deals a lot with heart issues, and so that's where it is that you meditate. And so that's why I have the amethyst here that's on that violet here. I have the garnet that goes into the red, and it touches this heart as well, so it brings like a life pumping blood back into our hearts. That's a symbolism here. And we're going to rise out of this as a butterfly here and return to match our wonderful Queen Maeve here. I have this. And this represents like a shell of a mollusk of some kind. It might be an oyster, but it's underdeveloped, as you can see. And so that's what Chiron really is. You know, it's kinda like evolving, you know, but really it's evolving out of pain, hurt, rejection. Chiron was rejected by his mother and his father. So a lot of times Chiron is kind of doubting because it really has like this luck on luck situation. But I tell you what, as you get older and you really, you know, like in my case, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense why Chiron is in my 5th house. But you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. The people that really, let's just say, like, maybe, you know, it didn't get into some full-blown relationship where people are moving in together and sharing resources and this and that, the other. Those other kinds of connections, they, you know, whether it be like, you know, dating and being friends and getting to know and just being more casual rather than, you know, formal, those relationships were so great because some of those people just resonated on such a regular level because they weren't really trying to negotiate like a living situation or trying to negotiate like, you know, some reputation for themselves. And so those relationships really just were just real things based upon like interest and fun and different things. And so a lot of times I found myself like really healing a lot of like, or learning so much about myself in those types of situations. And a lot of people actually, because of who I was and all the things that I guess I'm living my Chiron life, right? The wounded healer. I've just always knew how to really treat those people just because of the fact that, you know, how they responded to things and, you know, all the mistakes that I've gone through in my life, and I just never repeat them, even though I don't, you know, some people are not as mature. It doesn't matter how old they are. And so you just try to treat them accordingly. And that's kind of like how I always like dealt with how I have Chiron in my 5th house of my love and romance. But now that it's here and it's in the opposite side of Scorpio, it reminds us deeply that sexuality and Venus and Chiron are still a hot spot because of the fact that, you know, it could be good, you know, it could be some good healing, like good sexuality, like, you know, like, especially if you had a lover that hurt you and now they came back and they're in Scorpio, and you got like a Chiron and Taurus, which is like this water and earth like matchup. I mean, like, you know, it could really get sticky with some mud, right? That's what water and Earth does together, right? And what else? What you can do from there? You can create something, and you can create a good mold when it dries off. And you can see how that is a very, very healing time, right? If you decided to break down those elements that way. And that's exactly why I wanted to just make this wonderful therapy, is to empower the fact that until the day you embrace the fact that, hey, listen, this might happen and this might happen, just remember you're all the wiser. It's best. Listen, how about those people that brag about how many people they've dated? They don't tell you how much times that's failed. I mean, you failed. I mean, let's be real. Because who wants to be a serial dater? I mean, just somebody who doesn't love themselves, that's for sure, to be giving away their sexual energy in that way. I mean, who am I to judge anyway? You know, I'm not any saint, you know, but that's where those behaviors come from. So another thing about Venus and Chiron is that it talks about self-worth and values. How when you don't see your own self and your own value, the other person doesn't have a reason to enact any type of value towards you. Truth. In other words, like, there's a reason why they say that the squeaky wheel gets the most oil. Obviously, because it's fucking annoying. Sorry, I had some coffee. Don't need to be charged up, right? Anyways, thanks for enjoying that rant. I hope that let's see here. Exactly. What does Sovereign Wonderful Maze has to say today? Up here. It says, value what is sacred by protecting it from interference, even that which may well be intentioned. Be compassionate but set from boundaries. You are going to triumph over a negative situation. It will take courage, but you have more than enough strength, resourcefulness, and boldness to accomplish what you wish to attain. Don't give up. You have the ability to connect with higher worlds, so open your heart and mind to the light. Staying positive. Let's get on to the first little reading here about what the universe wants to talk about today. Wow. It's about deliberately making choices. And yeah, we talked about values, right? Putting your money where it needs to be. And I guess over yesterday and the two, rest and rejuvenation is definitely at alone time is recommended. As you can see, cutting back is recommended. That's one of the things here. Whoa. And emotional withdrawal is recommended. So this can also be a reading for like how the day kind of like rolls out here. In my case, my Chiron is going to be expiring like, like somewhere like 8 o'clock tonight. So I really don't plan on being an emotional withdrawal person here for for many hours here. But where's this oracle taking us? To a transformation. Like I said, how amazing is that? Do you see the butterfly in the back here? And now we have the totem over here. And we got some more butterflies over here. So now we know that this is a real reading here, just really dealing with the things that having to do with Chiron. So here's your confirmation. So far, let's take the recommendations of the oracle. Rest and reflection, because transformation is going on with us right here. We're making the material changes that actually just really have to do with where we're going, and we're going to continuously to think about this, as this might be a transforming day. As I said to you, when in my case or this case, that is a day where it is that, you know, the opposite side can return its wonderful healing properties back to us. And the transformation comes from the knowledge that we actually at that point in time all figure out what 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 things and what new information. So what are we coming from? So communication, as I said, just one of the best things, and now it's coming fast. What else here? An Empress, right? So this is the ultimate Venus, of course, you know, abundance, everything that's going on here. So we talk about just tending to or appending to values. And here we go back to just sitting and waiting, right? Quietness. Being the Empress in the in between here. And the Six of Cups. Love of the past. So that's what's going on in this meditation here. Love from the past. And how do we end a story? We end a story by going back to Seven of, because this would be Seven of Cups. This would be Eight of Cups. We go back to Seven of Cups. And we go back to Six of Cups. See how we revert to this? This is also a Mercury retrograde, so that's probably also what's going on. And you have the King of Pentacles, stability. So far, I feel like this is a great Chiron reading for anybody who finds this in the future, as well as right now. So, in the line of our choices here, we've been holding back, and we're at the Nine of Wands. And we have the Queen of Cups. That's great. This is about love, right? We have Page of Coins. So in this, we have a really long time, I guess, before we had really just had to hold up for this unconditional love that this Queen of Cups offers. And it's a really, really big cup, if you could notice. And you have our coins here, right? A very small coin. So what does that really, really mean? It means that, yeah, love costs a thing. Yeah. It costs time and tenacity. It takes the money and it takes the love for it all to work and to come to the understanding about that. So let's find out in this little, in this little withdrawal here, because we see lots of quietness here, right? Very much quietness. What happens here? We have the Hierophant. We're really, really thinking about this. And yeah, I mean, it looks like some counseling's going on, or an agreement of some kind, right? And the world is changing. See, transformation is all over this. So yeah, this is, whatever you're having this event go on in your life, it's going to be a very transforming one. Let's find out what happens at the bottom of this deck. You have the Queen of Wands, returning to passion. So in the line of this, it's all to get here. Lining yourself up again to this new place. And what do we have at the bottom? Five of Wands. You know what's really amazing? We start with a Five of Pentacles and we end with the Five of Wands. What's the last card here? Six of Cups. Hey, you know what's amazing, guys? Six of Cups are on the two sides here. Well, where is this supposed to go here? It's about love from the past. It's about that small thing becoming something really big. It is in the heart of the reading here. Love is very important. And this is what this is about. This fight for love. Look at all these wands in a row. So the last little oracle here, which I think is kind of funny. It says, Lady Luck Fate, taking risks, evaluating the odds, superstition. And this is something, it says, the caption says, you've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do ya, punk? Clint Eastwood and Dirty Hands. I'm sorry, Dirty Harry. Sorry, my vision. It's about evaluating and taking risks, and here you see in the middle of that old gamble here, it's a council with a Hierophant and a brand new beginning, a conflict at the bottom, and a Queen of Hearts at the top. Yeah. However, it's okay to not have it figured out. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little Venus 180 degrees or opposite to Chiron, and our little therapy session. Anything to help you along the way. Here, the recommendation was to be in your quietness, to make the choices that you need to do, and to be in your withdrawal and thinking about your past loves and the opportunities, because that's what's